Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is Doug Grant, Formulator here with Optimal Health Systems, and we have a phenomenal webinar for you. Thank you so much for joining. We have everyone coming in from the waiting room right now. And so what we'd like to do as you're coming on, please, as normal, I'd like you to click on the chat. And in the chat, if you would, please let us know where you're from. So just put in there, Dr. Darrell, from your state that you're in or city, whatever you'd like. Thanks for being on with us. Claudia, Don Stewart, Dr. Sledell, thank you. Donna, Dr. Day, thank you. Sheila for being with us, appreciate you. Dr. Rick, Jen, thank you. The beautiful Ozarks, yep. Dr. Rick from Maui, how you doing? Look forward to going to Maui here in a few months, so we'll have to hook up with you. Thanks for being on with us. Linda, Thatcher, Arizona, thank you. Right here in our hometown area, Edgewood, Washington. Dr. Seidel, always on with us. Thank you for being here with us, Texas. All right, so as everyone's continuing to come in, we just finished a health professional webinar for all the doctors around the nation. Talking to them about this subject, talking to them about the need to help patients improve their energy and do it holistically. And they are already on it, right? These doctors are the best in the world. If you had a doctor that referred you to this, just know how powerful they are and how great it is that you have found a holistic doctor that truly is working to treat you from the standpoint of nature and what nature knows best, and that health comes naturally. And when we try to get our health from unnatural sources, then we get kind of a fake energy. And you're going to see a study that's going to really blow your mind to show you this today. So super excited for you to be here and to be with us on this really critical subject. And so what we're going to do is give just a minute or so. We have people still filing in. Appreciate you being on. And we're going to get started with this webinar on energy. So let's go ahead and get rolling and give you a few statistics while the rest are coming in. And that is this, is that we have a major, low energy epidemic, and over 70% of people feel fatigued at work, and 97% of fatigued people have reduced cognitive performance. So what we mean by cognitive performance is the ability to focus, the ability to rationalize properly, to be able to have short-term memory come back strong, to be able to know what's going on and remember different things. And those that are fatigued lose about 5.5 hours of productive time every week. We were talking about with the doctors, some of the studies showing that a lot of people are losing 4 out of 8 hours every day as far as productivity is concerned, due to a lack of energy, or as you'll see from this one research study, not just a lack of energy, but from not having the right type of energy in the body. And so really, it's important to understand this subject is key. Now, when we're talking with health professionals around the nation, we were discussing the fact that, most people would go to the doctor, because of a condition, a pain, something that hurts, a condition, a disease or something. But along with that condition, they go and request for greater energy levels. So the majority of the population, when asked, feel that energy is one of the top 3 things that they want to improve. And I can see that based on our lifestyle, if you look at the research on nutrition, on exercise or the lack of, and the lack of certain nutrients that actually help us be happy and have energy, that why that's the case, why it's the number 1 most consistently requested desire amongst patients to health professionals. And so we are talking about energy. And energy, if you look at the definition of it, it's about something that gives you the strength that's needed, the physical strength it takes to perform all activities through the day that's mandatory or desired. Not the physical strength, the vitality that's needed, the mental focus, the clarity, the consistency needed and desire to be productive, so that you can have that positive, vibrant mindset. And I can't express to you the importance of that. We've seen people, athletes, patients, CEOs everyone go from thinking that they were doing fine, but really they were in this brain fog from these stimulants. And all of a sudden, once they get clarity, being, oh my gosh, I didn't know life was so vibrant. I didn't realize that I could be so much more present in the moment. And it's just a life-changing scenario. And what's concerning and scary is many times people don't realize that they're in a funk and that they need that help. And then also energy is defined simply. So this is the simple definition of energy: the ability to do work. That's it. Energy is the ability to do work, okay, both from the strength and the vitality standpoint. So energy is created, just get back to the basics, okay? So let's go through this a little bit. We're going to go 101 on this, and we're going to get back to the basics. Energy is created from the foods we eat. Now, the foods we eat are broken down mainly into things called macronutrients. Macronutrients are carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Now, let's get a little bit more clear. Carbohydrates, like your fruits, your vegetables, grains, that's carbohydrates. Your proteins, any meats, right? So any meats or any plant-based proteins, your lentils, your beans, and then fats, like even bad fats, like the butters and that, but the good fats like avocados, extra virgin olive oil, flaxseed, those types of things. So that's carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Different foods are carbohydrate, protein, and fat, and some have a mixture of them. Most do have a mixture of them in that, but the predominant, whether it's a carb, protein, or fat, we usually say that's a carbohydrate food, or protein, whatever it might be. So micronutrients are then not carbs, proteins, or fats, but micronutrients are vitamins, minerals, fatty acids, probiotics, and enzymes. Now, micronutrients are the things your body needs micro amounts of. Macronutrients, you need a lot of them, macro amounts. So on the daily, you need to be consuming lots of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Problem is we consume too many of them in the wrong type, but we need more of the macros, and then we need less of the micro, but we do need them. And without the micronutrients, we actually have major issues in the body when it comes to today's topic, energy. Now, the body, when functioning correctly, will take the nutrients, the macronutrients, break them down. The macronutrients are broken down into glucose. That's what carbohydrates are broken down to. Amino acids, that's what proteins broken down to. And into fatty acids, that's what fats are broken down to. So macronutrients are broken down into fatty acids, amino acids, and fatty acids, amino acids, and glucose. Micronutrients, then, the vitamins and minerals, the fatty acids, are used to combine with those macronutrients to help make ATP. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. It's a big fancy word. It just means these molecules that are energy. They actually explode, if you would, a phosphate group that explodes and gives you energy, and then the body makes a little more phosphate, puts it on there, and it goes around, and these little mini explosions, it's kind of like a car engine, boom, 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 and you get energy. So we need proper foods to get proper energy, okay? The cleaner our macronutrients, the more organic our micronutrients in the right amounts, and we have them in the system, the more ATP energy is produced. So what is the most important thing we should focus on? Right, our diet, our nutrition, the foods we eat, and the micronutrients on top of that we put into our body, okay? So one of my favorite sayings is that the healthier your presence, the more you can be present. And I want to bring that quote up today in this webinar because it's so true. As I mentioned, that so many people don't realize what's possible until they are there in what they thought was impossible. In other words, a higher level of clarity that they haven't felt before. And once you're present at a higher level, there's no greater feeling in the world. When I'm more present with my grandson, with my wife, with my children, with my coworkers at the office, with the stranger walking down the street, man, I've experienced life at such a higher level. And there's two times when you can't be completely present. One is if you have a lack of energy, you're low energy, okay, and you're not able to react fast enough to be present in the moment. And the other problem is if you have too much, especially synthetic energy, okay, chemical energy, and you don't have the nutrients to be able to be present. You're all over the place, but you're not present, right? You're all scattered. So we don't want to be too scattered, hyped up, and we also don't want to have a lack of energy. We want to have the right nutrients in the body for balance. the body likes to be in something called homeostasis. It's a condition of balance, so that as you need energy, you're walking along, you see someone, it'll give you that extra ATP boost to be present. How are you doing? Or to acknowledge the situation, or maybe even be the presence of danger, to know like, hey, that's something's there. I'm being present. I'm seeing this. I'm going to go this way, or whatever it might be, or someone that needs help, to act on it immediately and to be able to help in a situation. So the healthier your presence, the more you focus on your energy, right, and the right form of it, the more you can be present. So here's how you use calories in the body. Remember the calories you take in from the macronutrients. Let's just go to the bottom. 70% of the energy that's used in the day is used to just keep you alive. We call it basal metabolic rate, right? That's what keeps your brain functioning, keeps us alive, lungs going, heart pumping, blood going, flowing. That's 70% of the calories. And so if we had 1,000 calories, 700 of it goes to just keeping us alive, our metabolic rate. 20% of it goes to physical activity. And so when we're moving a little bit more than just the basic, and then we have 10%, the thermic effect of food, meaning it takes 10% of our energy each day just to digest our food. And so the more raw food and easier to digest food we have, the more energy we have to go towards our activities. So that's how our body uses the calories we take in from our food. So we need to understand that if our metabolism isn't right, in other words, we have situations going on, we have too high a body fat, we have conditions that are fixable because of our lifestyle, that we're not getting enough nutrients, we have aches and pains, we're using the majority of our energy just to like function. But if we are a well-oiled machine, we have our body fat where it needs to be, we're taking in the right nutrients, we're exercising, we're being consistent with it, our metabolic rate, our body's ability to make things happen works a lot easier, and we're able to use that for cognitive function and other factors to really be present instead of just being able to get by. So I hope you understand the importance here that we're talking about. So I'm going to, the slide's a little early here. We're going to be talking about different nutrients and being able to help you understand the power of those nutrients in the body. So I love this pyramid that I'm going to share with you right now. It's the first time we put it together. I speak it all the time on napkins when I'm talking to people, but it's about getting more performance and then having more energy. And hopefully these are the things you're wanting. Just sit there and ask yourself, do you want these things? Do you want more performance on the daily basis? And I'm not talking an athlete type thing. I mean, perform on the daily with the people around you. Do you want more energy? Do you want anti-aging benefits? Okay. Do you want control? And do you want ease in your life? Ease meaning that you're in this balanced place, that you're able to control yourself, your energy, your emotions, and be able to do as you want. Those things are possible when you balance the body with the right macronutrients, micronutrients, exercise, and mindset, and that gives you peace, right? So each part of that pyramid spells peace if you take the first letter of the acronym with it. But it's a peace of mind knowing that you're doing everything you can to reach optimal health. And as you do that, you get the performance, the energy, the anti-aging, the control, and the ease, okay? So in the US, 90% of adults and teenagers consume a certain substance. It's the largest, least regulated, and misunderstood drug trade in America. Does anyone know what we're talking about? What is the largest, least regulated, and most misunderstood drug trade in America, and 90% of adults consume it? Caffeine. Caffeine. Yep. Sugar, a good one. I agree with the sugar. It is consumed big time. And we're talking about caffeine because it's an unregulated trade that really has effects on the body at a high level that if you took too much, you could die like right away. And so this is a molecular formula of caffeine. Its weight, it's also known as methylxanthine. And I just say that because you also look at different drugs on the market and things like serious drugs like meth and other things like that. And they also have this methylxanthine type base to it. And you can see that's why it's important to not get hooked on these heavy synthetic caffeines that we're going to be talking about right now, because they could lead to other things because they're actually in that family. And I don't think a lot of people knew that. And so caffeine, caffeine. Now, let's talk about the good and the bad with this. The caffeine on the good side is the other nutrient reported by the literature, and the International Olympic Committee is having performance benefits. So you're like, wait, the caffeine all bad? Well, the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, only lists 5 ingredients that they say are performance enhancing, creatine being one of them, nitrates being one of them, but caffeine's another one, because it does have a benefit to improve performance. And so you're like, well, wait a second, if it improves performance, what's the problem with it? Well, the problem is it comes from a stimulation of the central nervous system. And there's a couple ways to give nutrients to the central nervous system to stimulate it for your benefit. And there's ways to do it that actually are for the opposite of that, to your detriment. And the difference is natural caffeine versus synthetic caffeine. Now, natural caffeines are things that are found in the caffeine or the energy that's found in food. A lot of times we think of coffee or tea when we're talking about caffeine. Now, these plants have naturally occurring energy in them, but most are manufactured in a way that actually just pulls this caffeine out of it, and it's from a chemical synthesis standpoint. But they are better than the straight synthetic caffeines that are out there today. Okay, because right now what's happening is they're using methylene, chloride, ethyl acetate, carbon dioxide, different things to be able to make these synthetic caffeines. And that's where the major problem comes in. Or their coffees aren't strong enough, so they'll infuse those with the synthetic caffeines that even make it worse. So we need to know what to look for. So let's say that you're someone that drinks these Red Bulls, you drink Monster Energies, Bangs, things like that to get your energy through the day. Okay. And you're drinking these things and you're taking in a high amount of caffeine, and you'll see that the maximum amount's 300 to 400 a day before there could be serious problems in the body. But you're taking a synthetic form of caffeine. It's called caffeine anhydrous. It's caffeine made from all of the synthetic ingredients that we just talked about. So what you should do immediately is get to a place where you switch off those to natural forms, and then eventually even start cutting down on those, because your body should produce enough natural energy, ATP, because of your diet. But at a minimum, switching off of the synthetic caffeines, and we'll show you why. So things like green tea, yerba mate, all of these things have been able to proved to help improve energy in the body without the side effects of caffeine anhydrous. So caffeine anhydrous is the ingredient that is synthetic, that is the problem maker. Okay. There are different things that have been pulled off the market, DMHA, things that are derivatives of synthetic caffeine anhydrous that were basically a lot like meth, because it is from that family. We have to be careful with them. So let's go through a little fun explanation of caffeine and what happens in the body. Caffeine is something the body uses, but in our brain, if we pull the skull off, right, we have these little receptors sticking up. There's not, but pretend there's these receptors sticking up, right, and they're there. And these receptors in the morning, what happens is this chemical called adenosine starts to fade away, and the caffeine that's in your diet and that can go into those receptors, and it will wake you up. And the sun will help activate that, and the light in the room will activate that. And all of a sudden your body, it's called circadian cycle. And so as the day starts, your body will switch over and start switching in the caffeine in places of the adenosine. And we wake up, we're alert, we're vibrant, okay? And we go through the day, and that's what it does. But then what happens is the brain will start creating more receptors, because we keep adding more caffeine. If we add synthetic caffeine and the nutrients aren't present, it gives this stimulation that isn't solid. In other words, it's almost like a shakiness. And the body's like, wait, maybe we need more caffeine in here. We're not getting a good fit in this receptor. But really, it's because it's a synthetic caffeine. It's not a caffeine that has all the nutrients that are needed for balance. And it's pulling a lot of B vitamins and other nutrients from the body, because it's a synthetic chemical. And so the body will start making more receptors to accommodate more caffeine. But then when the caffeine wears off, because we have all these extra receptors, the body fills them with adenosine, and we get this crash, because it's not just a little bit of adenosine that starts to calm us down. We have extra receptors so that it floods us with extra adenosine, because of all the receptors that were created by what? Synthetic caffeine. And now we get this huge down. That's why most people that are on caffeine synthetic, they'll go 2 or 3 hours and then they just go, and then they got to drink more and take it. And they have to take more and more caffeine all the time because they're creating more receptors. So does that make sense? Is that an aha moment for anyone? Let me know in the chat if that's an aha moment for you. A lot of people that we teach this around the world to are like, oof, this is one of those moments, right? Like, I got it. I didn't realize that. That's how come when I have more caffeine, I feel like I need more and more, and the crash gets worse and worse. Okay. So thanks, Janetta. Absolutely. So the adenosine melatonin connection. Now, it's interesting that part of melatonin's mechanism of work is to promote adenosine signaling, thus potentially linking your circadian and your homeostatic control of sleep. What does that mean? Let's simplify it. Melatonin is what helps the body to determine and create the adenosine to calm you down so you can rest. And so melatonin is a major, major important factor with this process, and it's required for the regulation of sleep. But if we have all these extra receptors that have been created because of the caffeine and the body made a bunch more, then now your body's having to go into overdrive to make enough of the adenosine, taxing the melatonin stores. And melatonin also helps with many other functions in the body as an antioxidant, fighter against cancer, a lot of different things. A lot of the doctors on this call use melatonin in high doses to treat conditions that is important to understand. So now we're messing with the melatonin cycles in the body that cause these issues. So now let's go to a study I was talking about at first. That was a really interesting study. And let me get a little drink here. In the study, they took spiders, and with the spiders, they had them weave webs with their normal lifestyle, their normal nutrients. And then they caffeinated the spiders and looked what happened with them. And what happened was that their webs varied in size. All of them were different. They'd have a uniformity, the length of the thread, the organization, the density, the structure. The excess caffeine causes issues in techniques of being able to function properly. So now you go out and you take caffeine and you're like, man, I'm on it. I got energy and vitality, and you're not productive. You're not getting the things done because you're all over the place. So it's not even a true energy. It's a synthetic fake energy, and it causes issues. We make decisions we shouldn't make. We go off when we shouldn't be going off on people. We think we're acting and we're really not. It's like people on drugs. You ask someone that's been on drugs and they thought they were ruling the world, but if you're around them, you're like, dude, what's wrong? Same concept, because it's in the meth family. And they actually did a study with giving meth to spiders. You got a lot of the same response from the webs. So take a look at this and realize that energy, just straight energy, right, doesn't mean productivity and the ability to be present. The healthier your presence, the more you can be present. You need a healthy form of energy so that you can be more present, to be able to be consistent in your dealings with people, your work, to be able to have that memory that's needed. So this is a really, really important understanding, is that the type of energy that you're putting in your body, or caffeine, is critical. Now, you're the creator of your own reality. You're the creator of your own energy, because you're the creator of your own vibration. And if you're taking in synthetic caffeines, the vibration you're given is not a steady, consistent, solid vibration. It is one that is erratic. It is one that creates the webs like we just saw. You, though, are the creator of it. You can choose to take in the right foods to balance the body, to be able to provide ATP, and the energy is needed. And then when you need extra help at times, you take whole food forms of caffeine into your body, and then it's a game changer. So what are some of the whole food forms? Coffee beans, tea leaves, cocoa beans, kola nut, guarana, yerba mate. These all have a lot of natural energy in them. And so you look and see, based on the ability to get them, a lot of times it's based on where you live. If we lived in Brazil, would mean they have yerba mate, right? Guarana, those types of things. But if you don't want to take any of these, I have some people say, well, hey, I don't want to take green tea or yermati and that type thing. I don't think that that's the healthy way to go, but yet they're taking synthetic caffeine from a diet soda or a Coke or just a synthetic caffeine anhydrous, chemically made in the lab, that's going to screw up your receptors in your brain. It absolutely blows my mind that people think that way. So ultimately, don't take any nutrients that have energy, caffeine in them. But most people are taking synthetic caffeines, and they need switch over to natural forms, and then you can regulate that from there. But you're not going to be stealing from the body and causing these issues like we showed that happen in the spider study. So how much caffeine? People that take over 300 milligrams of caffeine a day, 300 to 400 milligrams of caffeine a day, can cause all kinds of issues in the body. So we got to be careful with the amount of caffeine that's consumed. Now, there's what's interesting, in the doctors, we were talking about this, and it's this, is that back in the 90s and even the early 2000s, it was hard to take in more than 100, 150 milligrams of caffeine a day. The basic coffees come in 30, 50, sometimes 60, a little espresso, a little higher. The sodas, the Cokes, the Pepsis, all down 50, 60, milligrams of caffeine. And then they came out with a product called Jolt. Then they started coming out with everything else, the Monsters and the Bangs and all that. Now, most of these energy drinks on the market consume 300 calories or have 300 calories in them. When you consume one bottle of them, one can of them, you're already consuming the max amount you probably should get in a day from a synthetic form. And so you're going to be running around creating more receptors in the brain that's going to cause that major crash. You're going to be going around at not true energy, thinking you have good true energy, like, hey, I'm killing it. You're not. You're actually causing problems because you can't be present. You don't have a healthy presence, and so you can't be present. You're basically on the synthetic caffeines. And we know that these synthetic caffeines, especially over that amount, increases blood pressure, increases heart rate, it disrupts sleep, it induces reliance addiction. Become reliant on it and have to get more and more and more of it. It aggravates psychiatric conditions. So if a person already has issues like hallucinations, mania, those things can cause dehydration. They're bad for your teeth, excess calories. And so what do? Again, if you're taking these synthetic caffeines, you have someone in your life that does, switch them over immediately to whole foods, okay? Whole food caffeines, actually, like green teas and yerba mates and those things, lowers the risk of stroke, lowers the risk of cancer, helps you increase circulation, makes the mind more alert. Now, this is a little bit in depth, but you can do, those who do like the DNA tests, and you find out your family lineage and all that stuff. Well, in those DNA tests, it'll also tell you if you're a fast or slow metabolizer of caffeine, and you have CYP1A, 1A or 1A2, and it tells you whether you are fast or slow metabolizers. It's kind of cool to know that, but most of you kind of already know it. So if you took something with caffeine in it, like if you take our Be Awake formula with the natural caffeine in it, if it takes 20 minutes and you really feel it, then you're probably a fast metabolizer. If it takes 45 minutes to an hour, then you're a slow metabolizer. It's just good to know what you genetically are coded with, and everyone's one or the other. Okay. So this is Hillary. Hillary's, a lot of you knows my wife. She's a 3 times natural Miss Olympia, reigning natural Miss Olympia champion. And she uses a Be Awake formula, as do I every day, which is just a formula with the natural forms of green tea we use in the morning to wake up, get vibrant, get ready to study, do things, get things going. Not everyone does that. It's just what we do in our lifestyle, the hours that we're working each day and out and running and doing our thing. And so it is possible to be able to have energy and alertness and do it without any type of energy. But if you do it with the natural energies. Okay. And so we want to understand that battle over the receptor sites. We want to provide enough natural energy to give you alertness through the day. And hopefully, again, you get to where you don't have to have any type of energy nutrients, that your body's just making it from the carbs, proteins, and fats, the macronutrients, and your micronutrient, take your vitamins and minerals. But if you use a natural form of energy, then your body won't make additional receptors, that you'll be able to get that consistency. The reason I brought up Hillary is we've been taking the same amount of the Be Awake formula. It used to be called Natural Vitality. The Be Awake formula, we've been taking the same amount for, I don't know, 7 years. I've never had to take more to get the same effect. And the reason is because it doesn't increase the receptor sites. You don't have to take more and more and more. So we're still able to get the same amount of calming down in the evening, melatonin helping secrete adenosine, fill back in those receptor sites, settle down, and go to sleep. Okay, so we don't have those factors. And it's really important to understand that in the body is these brain will create more receptor sites to get the same response. And we want to be able to get away from that low energy. So our focus this month is energy boost. And we want to talk about the top energy producing foods there are in the world today. And the top energy producing foods, let's just start with some of them. So what are they? Number one's water. And you're like, what? Water? Yep, water. Absolutely one of the most overlooked nutrients to boost your energy is unless your body has water to combine with the nutrients, you don't get the energy. And so you should be consuming at least 3/4 of a gallon of water a day. I recommend a gallon of water a day, especially to get started, get in the habit for 63 days. Download an app called 63, the number 4 me, 63 for me. Go to your app store or go to those are Android users to that store and be able to download 63 for me. It's a cool little habit tracker for 63 days. And one of the things is to drink a gallon of water a day. Oatmeal, quinoa, rice, kamut. Kamut is one of our favorite grains that we use because it's an Egyptian type wheat that's non-GMO. And these are great sources of energy. I'd say 70 to 80% of the clients that we work with consume some form of a oatmeal for breakfast, overnight oats, oatmeal, quinoa, something like that for breakfast with berries in it every day, blueberries, raspberries, things like that. So oatmeal is a great energy producer because it's a complex carb. It will help give you sustained energy throughout the day. And then the other huge energy producer from food are berries. Blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, just berries. I tell people what's one of the best things you can do if you're a snackaholic and you're eating junk food. Next time, go to the store, get those little clear little boxes full of blueberries, right? They're about that big, 4x4. And that's what you snack on. You take it with you in the car and you're driving, you snack on the blueberries. You have it at your office, you snack on the blueberries. The blueberries is one of the greatest things you can do that provide energy, antioxidants, anti-aging, nutrients for heart health, for cardiovascular health. Absolutely critical. And that's just kind of a cool little tip. So bananas is a great energy producing food and all fruits, but bananas are really number one in that. The potassium factor is huge with it. For those of you that have some dairy, yogurt, real yogurt though, the sour yogurt, but make sure your own berries in it, is a great energy source. And then for the protein side of it, beans, peas, and lentils are the best energy sources from the protein side of things. Okay. So what about top energy producing foods that should be consumed daily, like we talked about? So here's some others. Sweet potatoes, huge fan of sweet potatoes, most nutrient dense food on the planet. And guess what? Yay, dark chocolate. Now I'm talking dark chocolate. We're talking, over 80% of it, and to be organic. And any 80% starts getting a little bit bitter. So you might want, 75, you still got that sweetness in it. But it's really a taste that if you do have a bite, just a little square of dark chocolate a day, it's actually extremely beneficial for you, and it can help with energy levels. And you're like, well, do I not eat any of these things before bed then? Do I not have berries before bed or that little piece of dark chocolate, whatever it might be? No. You absolutely can have them before bed, because when it's a natural energy from these types of foods, unless it's from the herbs like the green tea and the yerba mate and that, those will, you don't want to take too late in the day, okay? Because those have a higher amount of the energy in them with less calories. These have a higher caloric content and they don't keep you awake. They just give your body that natural energy so that when you wake up in the morning and you break your fast, right? Breakfast, when you break your fast from the night before, those nutrients will be ready to replace the adenosine receptors in the brain so that you can wake up alert, ready to go. So I actually recommend at night at your dinner, wherever your last meal is, to have these energy producing foods, because it'll provide the ability for your body to pull those energy nutrients into the brain in the morning when the sun comes up, circadian cycle starts, and be able to start your day vibrant and healthy and out of bed and ready to go for the day. Okay. So how about the top energy draining nutrients? Alcohol, white flour, sugar. Those things are the most energy draining foods. I said nutrients, not nutrients. There is out there today. Alcohol, hopefully we don't have to talk a lot about that. Complete energy draining from the standpoint of a lot of times it's the carbonation, but also just the alcohol molecule itself deprives the body of ATP, of energy. White flour, one of the worst ingredients ever in the planet today, where they took good wheats and grains and pulled out all the nutrients. And so what it is a sucker. White flour in the body will suck nutrients from the body, and what fiber it has, take them out of the body so it can't be used. So what nutrients you have gets pulled out of the body, and it doesn't have any nutrients. So it's really a bad deal, and it sucks energy from the body. And then sugar, and you think, well, sugar gives glucose, that's energy. Well, processed sugar actually is like a synthetic caffeine. It'll raise the blood sugar, and then the crash from that, because the body's having to deal with it, is much worse. So sugar, white flour, alcohol, fried foods, synthetic caffeine, like we talked about. What is synthetic caffeine? Caffeine anhydrous, if it doesn't have any other nutrients with it, and just excess calories. If we have excess calories, it lowers our energy, because our body's now having to deal with these excess calories and go and store them in the fat cells. And that takes energy to do. It takes energy to store fat. And so we have less energy, and we're not liking the side effect from it, which is extra stored fat. And now the extra stored fat starts releasing chemicals in the body that increases your risk of disease and inflammation. So takes your energy away, adds body fat, and increases your risk of disease. Excess calories, one of the worst things you can do for energy. And you're thinking, well, I'm eating foods for energy. No, you're actually taking energy away by eating the excess foods. Okay. So here's the top micronutrient for energy. We talked about the macronutrients. Green tea is a micronutrient, herb, yerba mate, ginkgo biloba. I'm a big fan of nutrients that boost circulation of the body. If you boost circulation, you boost oxygen levels, which boosts energy. So arginine, creatine nitrate, phytonutrients, so like the nutrients in the berries and the fruits. And then I'm also a big fan of a nutrient called NADH. NADH is a nutrient that a lot of people use just for like hangovers. It's a vitamin derivative of the B vitamin. And but it is a great nutrient for anytime you're fatigued, you just had a tough night's sleep, jet lag, any of those things. NADH is a great nutrient. So there's some formulas that you can look at, whether you use our formulas or find some somewhere. These are the ingredients you're going to want to find. My favorite is called Optimal Be Awake, that gives you a good push of energy and gives you a flush. You want the little flush, okay? So you got to be ready for it, because it increases the microcirculation in the body. But this increases your mood, your mental clarity, and it does it through some of the natural forms of ginkgo biloba, rhodiola craniolata. It's a special herb, yerba mate, the green tea, L-taurine. This again is a daily of mine. I take this formula every single day, and then it has the phytonutrients in it also, along with the B vitamins. And what I did is I put enough of the natural niacin in here to, after a certain amount, it really causes a flush. So you're not going to overuse this formula. You're going to take just a few, 2 or 3 capsules. You're going to get that flush, and that's your level that you should take. So it's a great, great formula. The next formula that we're talking about nutrient-wise is called Optimal BFF. This is one that has the nitrates in it. So if you're looking at other formulas on the market, make sure it has nitrates in it from food. Okay, that's very important. Food nitrates are nitrates from beets, arugula. Okay, they creatine nitrate, things like that have these natural nitrates. Now these chews are powerful. You chew them up, you immediately get the nitric oxide, you immediately get the energy in the body. Really powerful form of energy in the body and getting that circulation going. So let me talk about NADH, because most people don't know what it is. And it's a big, long word. And so that's what can we call it NADH, and I won't bore you with it, but it's an organic compound. So it's organic, it's in every living cell. When something's in every living cell, it's called ubiquitous. So it's throughout all cells. And so you have this thing called NADH, it's in every cell of the body. And then its job, being in every cell, is to be a part of this electron transfer process in these things that make energy in the body. You have these little powerhouses, like these little plants of energy, right, that make energy, and they're called mitochondria. And in these little power plants throughout the whole body, these mitochondria, NADH helps with the process for these mitochondria, these power plants, to make energy, to make ATP. ATP is the word used in chemistry that we know of as energy, adenosine triphosphate. It's this thing with 3 molecules, and then one of the molecules blows off, poof, and it gives you the energy. And then the body has the right nutrients, it puts another molecule in there, and that blows off, and it gives you energy. And this happens billions of times, right? And you get this energy from ATP. But part of the process is this NADH. And so it's shown if you supplement with NADH, then it increases the production of ATP. What's ATP? Energy. Also, NADH has been found to improve cognitive function, brain function, focus, and reduce fatigue. So when do you take it? You take it in people that do drink alcohol, you take it the afternoon, you're going to drink alcohol that night, take it before, and then take one the next morning. But at least you're going to take one the next morning. People that have drank, people that have a bad night's sleep, whether you drink or not, wake up in the morning, it helps you get going without, you need caffeine, it's just NADH. Then also if you just are dragging because man, things are just tough right now, might have some other deficiencies, NADH is a great way with 0 caffeine at all, just supplying the nutrients to be able to make ATP is a great way to go. I have people that are on this and man, I wish I'd found this decades earlier in my life. It's a game changer. And it really is a game changer to help you be more alert, more cognitive functioning, and be able to be present in the moment. So super, super great. Dr. Lankering asking about what our thoughts about gluten. I think gluten is one of the big energy stealers today because it comes back to what I was talking about with digestion. When we talk about our basal metabolic rate, 70% of our calories that we consume are used to just help with metabolism. Well, when we have certain nutrients that the body can't break down, the body will spend a ton of energy trying to break it down. And there used to be, there is this protein called gluten that's found in barley, wheat, rye. And gluten used to be that it broke off pretty easy. The body would send these enzymes called protease enzymes to it when you ate the grain, and it would break it down and provide the amino acids to the body, and everything was great. But since they started genetically modifying our grains, it made this gluten really hard to break down. And so the body works and works and works to break it down, and it uses its what? Energy. So you're losing energy, you're using up your energy to try to break this gluten down, and it can cause all kinds of problems if it doesn't get broke down. So I'm a big fan of digesting gluten. And that's where the digestion formula, optimal digestion, is a very, very powerful nutrient made just for digesting gluten. And it's a special enzyme that does this. And so I'm a big fan of digesting gluten. If you don't digest gluten, or if you have a serious disease, celiac disease, you need to stay away from it, and your energy levels increase because it takes energy to break it down. Okay. Let's go on with next. Oh, this is NADH. Okay. And NADH, this is what the product looks like that helps with the cellular energy in the body. That's the coenzyme that promotes the cellular energy, and as a nutritional transporter for support, improves energy levels and brain function and clarity. And I want to make a comment also about some of the things, like some of the ingredients that are in the formulas. And if we have an ingredient in the formula that it came from an organic farmer, but the ingredient itself didn't go through another process to get organically certified in that, nowadays we can't even put on the label, even though they're organic. So anytime we're using our even our wheys and other nutrients like that, know that we pass on every test the minimum levels. We are much higher than that of being organic, meaning the levels of pesticides and everything in our formulas. But in order to list every single ingredient and every product is organic, and I know some people do that, but it's not really the right thing to do. The ingredient has to be organically fully certified, and not all of them are that way. A lot of times the organic farmers will grow them. They'll give you a certificate of analysis. You'll get that. You see the levels, you'll test for the levels, and you put it in a formula, and you let your people know that this is a organically, as far as pesticide and all that, tested formula. And all of our formulas meet every single criteria of the organic as far as that's concerned. And so I hope that helps you with that. So NADH is just a reduced form of a special B vitamin and very powerful. It's just kind of one of those things that I think most people don't know about. So I want you to kind of know about NADH today. Hopefully it's one of those new things for you that you'll love. So true energy comes from homeostasis at the cell level, meaning the body's stable. So back to Dr. Lankery's question, at the cell level, if the cell is not in balance, it's trying to digest certain things and not able to bring nutrients in past the cell lining and to be able to transport them and to take toxins and remove them, you're not at balance. And when you're not in balance, the body will use its energy to try to get you in balance. So now you have less energy to give to the world. You have less energy to be present. You have less energy to be able to make things happen in your life. You go to work, you come home, and now you can't even play with the kids or be with their spouse, whatever it might be. So how do you find out about your nutrient levels? Because if you're deficient in vitamin D, your body, you're not going to be able to be happy. You're not going to produce the right amounts of dopamine, serotonin, and those things. Just with vitamin D deficiency, magnesium deficiency, you're not going to be able to have enough ATP production. It'd be vitamins, you're not going to be able to have good cognitive function or energy, especially B12. Well, how do you know? How do you know if you're deficient? Guys, whether you do Nutrients RX, I think it's the best program in the world for you to be able to determine how many calories or the type of calories in your body, how well they're digesting, and the type of micronutrients that you're deficient in or have excesses in. Do some type of blood work, do something. Our program is called Nutrients RX. Ask your doctor about it, call the office. We'll help you with it and find out which doctor, health professional recommended you and make sure that we're able to let them know and that you're doing the program. And Nutrients RX is a program where you order it and you're able to get a requisition to get your blood work done. You go to the closest place to you, and then we find out your deficiencies from the blood work and your analysis and the questionnaire, and we make a custom nutrient pack for you. Well, why is that important to the discussion today? Because I can't tell you the hundreds, if not thousands of people that all they did different was fix their deficiencies in the body and their energy levels shot up dramatically just because now they had balance. They had homeostasis. They had the nutrients to go to the mitochondria to produce ATP, remember the thing that's energy in the body. And it's just because of that balance. And they needed very little outside support. They definitely didn't need any synthetic caffeines anymore. And if they needed help, they would just take the good whole food forms of energy. So Nutrients RX, highly recommend you look into that if you haven't already, or ask your health professional about it. They can help you with it. So the energy recap. Energy is created from foods to ensure strength, and vitality is created in the body. Energy is the ability to do work. Energy is the ability to do work. In order to create energy, we need fitness in our life. And what do we mean by fitness? Our acronym, you need the right mindset. You need to be able to say, I am a healthy, energetic person. You need to state who you are, your motto, what you are, what you stand for in the world. And if you say that you're a healthy, energetic person, when those foods come by, you're like, what would a healthy, energetic person do? Because that's who I am. Well, I wouldn't consume that white flour. A healthy, energetic person will consume the whole foods. A healthy, energetic person will take the synthetic caffeine. They'll take this to be awake or some other nutrient if they really need it. And you start saying that's who you are, and then you're able to look at every choice in the world and make the right choice based on who you say you are. And guess what happens? You become that. So the focus, intense thought, be someone that does not consume synthetic caffeine, someone that provides whole foods to the body. Nutrition, eat clean macro and micronutrients. Exercise, it produces positive energy chemicals in the body. Man, exercise is one of the biggest boosters of energy in the world that's not talked about as much as it should be, mainly because of dopamine in the body, endorphins. Endorphins are probably the chemical that exercise helps the most with. It's just this full energy, clarity chemical in the body that's really great. And then specific supplementation, whole food caffeine sources if needed, arginine, NADH, critical, and make sure you get your nutrients balanced from like the Nutrients RX program. Okay. So one of my favorite things to say is that you don't decide how healthy you are. You don't decide it. You're like, what do you mean? I set goals. I decide things. Well, yeah, you set goals. Everyone sets goals. but few follow through. You don't decide how healthy you are. You decide on your daily habits. And that accumulation of actions determines your results. Now think about it. So how do you get daily habits? A lot of times, like, I started some habits, but I fell off because you didn't decide who you were. Decide who you are when it comes to energy and vitality. You're an energetic, healthy, vibrant person. And then start making the choices based on that person. And you'll be able to get those habits in place, and they'll accumulate, they'll compound to the day you're like, man, I have a ton of energy. I'm not taking these synthetics. My life's changed dramatically. You decide on that. Okay. So there are some focus this month on the products, the BFF that has a creatine nitrate in it to help with nitric oxide, the Be Awake that I talked about with the natural energy and the flush, and the NADH. So get with your doctor or call OHS. I think the reps are staying a little bit later tonight, so you can get discount on that. Again, we do these and give you discounts to thank you. You don't have to buy anything. The thing is, I want to educate you on a healthier lifestyle, nutrition, mindset, exercise, and then with the supplementation, make sure you're provided with whole food supplements that are the highest potency, the healthiest, and that show, based on all the studies, that they have the purest ingredients without any types of toxins in them, and make them available to you. And so we make them here, we produce them, we ship them from here, and they're available for you, whether you just use the information from the seminar tonight or you take advantage of the supplements. That's great. If you do it online, just put the code GET-ENERGY. GET-ENERGY if you order online at optimalhealthsystems.com, or you can call the reps and they'll help you with it. I believe they're still here. I went a little long. They're still here. Thank them for staying late. Call the reps. Thank them for staying late and order some. Okay. So they're here for like 5 more minutes. So please do that. There's a great American philosopher by the name of Sly Stallone, and he said, success is usually the culmination of controlling failures. Success is usually the culmination of controlling failures. Guys, we've all failed at trying to create energy, and we've seen what works, what doesn't. Don't fall back into the continuous failures of having the synthetic drinks, bangs, and the Red Bulls, and the carbonated drinks, the energy, and the fake caffeines, or synthetic caffeines. Get off of them. Get your diet under control, decide you're a healthy, energetic person, make that declaration statement right now. And then as you need energy, make sure you take just the good whole food forms, and really you'll have that success because you've already had the failures. And now you have to do is make those adaptations so that you'll be able to have true energy in your life. Okay. Let's see here. Let me tell you a couple things and we'll close, and I'll answer a few questions for you all. Please follow us at ohsforlife.com. Well, that's our website, right? But we want you to follow us on Instagram at ohs4life, the number 4 life. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook at Optimal Health Systems. Please do that. Our social media has gone up a zillion % as far as being able to, they're having me film crazy things in different places and being able to give you guys information through social media just to keep your mind going and to stay strong and to be able to get rid of all that chatter out there that's going on. We're going to do a seminar about that, about this absolute plan to get you to not eat healthy and what to do about it. But please follow us on Instagram, OHS for Life, Facebook, Optimal Health Systems. And for those of you that shy away from social media, quit it. Here's the deal. You can use a car to rob a bank, or you can use a car to go to church. Use the social media card, but only follow people that are uplifting, that provide nutrition, whole food, mindsets, good positive vibes from their speaking, and it'll only uplift your life. Anyone that's any negativity or any junk that's out there, any processed food, pharmaceutical-based crap, delete. That's the neat thing about it. Okay, so follow, do that. And my last announcement, so excited, just launched today. Our new podcast. Me and Hillary started a podcast called FitFam Podcast. We've been asked to do this for years and years, and we decided to do it together. And it launched at 3:30 Arizona time today on 3:30. So most of you know I'm a fanatic about numbers and a big Tesla fan. But anyways, so it's launched and it's available. I recommend you go to YouTube. You can scan this and you go to YouTube. and be able to follow us. And when you go to YouTube, make sure you push the subscribe button. That way, every time we come out with a new episode, you get notified on it. So subscribe on FitFam on YouTube. If you don't want to see my ugly mug, you can just put your hand in front of my face and watch Hillary. Or if you don't want to see us at all, we're on Spotify, on Apple also, so you can just listen to us on all your favorite podcast channels. But FitFam, first one drops today. We talk about fitness, real basic for some people, but then we do some deep dives starting next week. We do a deep dive into hormones next week. Any of you that know people that take TRT or hormone therapy, you want to have them listen to it, because we come down hard on the truth of that. And then the week after that, we do a phenomenal one on the mind and on goals and vision and what you can do to create a whole new person from the focused, intense thought standpoint. And that one's going to be phenomenal too. So super excited. Please subscribe and be honest. Let us know what you think of it and what you want. This is something we plan on doing consistently for many years to come, to help people have great things to listen to, that is uplifting, that gives them education, that gives them tools to be able to live a healthier life for themselves and their family. So appreciate you guys. Hopefully you'll join with us and follow along. And we appreciate all of you. I'll be glad. I know I'm past time, but I'll stay on a few more minutes if any of you want to ask any questions, and I'll be glad to answer them. And thanks, Wyatt and Becky, for putting this together. A great team. Yes, our slides are much better because the team's doing it and they're not leaving it just to me, that I'm not the best, but it's just beautiful, isn't it? They do a great job. And also the links are in there for the Instagram, for Facebook, and for the FitFam podcast. Appreciate it. Put those links in there. Just click on them, subscribe, no cost. I hate the word subscribe. That sounds like cost. Zero cost, forever. Don't worry about that. We got you. All right, let's see. Thank you. You have to go where the people are. Yes, Dr. Janine, we do have to be out there. We do need to be on social media, because we need to be out there impacting. The other side is out there, and it's serious. The tobacco companies bought most of the food companies and turned them into the same marketing machines as the tobacco companies use to get people to take their death product. And now we're doing it with processed foods, and they're promoting, and they're out there. They're using influencers. We need to be out there with a voice of whole food and truth and nutrition and exercise and mindset and a fit family. So follow us, social media at OHS and our podcast. Thanks for that point, Dr. Ridgway. We're not on Podbean. We know what Podbean is. I don't know what that is, but you can let us know and we'll look into it. Let's see if there's any other questions on here. Q&A. Can you take more than one NADH per day? Yeah, I can take 2. I don't recommend more than 2 because there's no need. It won't cause any damage, obviously, but there's just no need, and you'll be wasting it. NADH is a pretty pricey product, and that's why it's just NADH in that supplement. But you'll see that we keep the price for the purity extremely low for you on that. Thank you for commenting on the webinar. Let's see, what do we recommend for gallbladder health or absorbing nutrients and minerals better? Gallbladder is key for absorption. Absolutely. Let me answer that and we'll close. The gallbladder secretes bile. It's a major part of a digestion of fats in the body. And some people have their gallbladder taken out and they're like, well, what do I do? Think about fat digestion. So there's 2 things to help with this, and it'll also help with the absorbing of nutrients. Okay, so Shanetta, this will help you both ways. There's a product called Optimal Fat Sugar Trim. Fat Sugar Trim is a product that has a high amount of lipase in it. Lipase is an enzyme that digests lipose, which is a French word for fat, right? Liposuction. So they digest fats, and we need that. I remember my mom had to have her gallbladder out, and so I told her, I said, from this day forward, you need to take the Fat Sugar Trim because it's replacing what your gallbladder used to do. And you need it. And so whether you have a gallbladder that just needs extra help and it needs maybe even to get pressure taken off of it so it can heal, the Fat Sugar Trim formula is the way to go. There is lipase in the digestion formula, the one that has all the enzymes in it that you take with your food. But if you want that extra boost, you're trying to heal the gallbladder, your gallbladder is gone, you want to take Fat Sugar Trim, 1 with each meal, and it'll help tremendously in the breakdown of fats and the things that the gallbladder was meant to help you with, and it'll also help with the minerals. So hope that helps. Again, thank you all so much being on with us next month. Join us. We'll send out the emails, invite your friends for another webinar on things to help you reach optimal health. Always remember, keep chewing.